Hi, I've received some questions regarding this part of the assignment here, which is question 10. And some of the things that are key about this particular portion is that what we're looking for is we want to look for any kind of missing values. And if they're blank, we want to calculate the average of that column and enter this number into the blank cell. And once we do that, we want to go ahead and make a notation. And here is the example notation that I was giving. And if you look here in the example that I gave you, you can see there's a few things to pay attention to. So I'm going to go to the Excel spreadsheet so that way you can take a look at what I'm trying to talk through, and hopefully this will help you out. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. There we go. And let's start with this. So the first thing I want to point out is that this value does not match the count that is in all of the other fields. When I say fields, I'm talking specifically about these characters here at the top, which indicates the column name or the field name of the data set. Now we know that this is should be 3000 because everything else is 3000. And once we're done, we want to be able to make a notation of the changes that we're going to make. So we're going to want to record the ID and of course the field. Now, since this is the problem child right here, we know the field is going to be sold. That is the one that's going to be most interesting, or what we're going to be most interested in. But also this value here is really important. This is the average of that field, 30.8, right? Because I want to be able to write this number into the blank values. So, and I know that because it says so in my instructions. So enter this number in the blank. That is, calculate the average and enter this number in the blank. So, all right. Let's go back to Excel. So remember, I want to pay attention to a few things: the ID of the transaction, and I want to be able to enter the average into the blank. Now, I'm in my data transactions, and I'm just going to go actually all the way up to the top of my spreadsheet here. Now, for simplicity, I went here and I'm going to just freeze pane so that way we can see the top row with the header names, and also we can see the transaction ID here on the left. You don't have to do this for your particular assignment, but that's going to help with this explanation. So what I'm really most interested in is two things. I want to know the ID number where the sold value is blank, right? So sold is in this column and the ID is in this column, right? So in order to be able to do that, I need to go through this column and look for the blanks. Well, it's great, but I have 3,000 rows to look at, and a manual inspection is going to be very difficult to do. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to click on the first cell in the row, and I'm going to use a keyboard combination, and that keyboard combination is Control and down arrow, which is the cursor arrows typically found on the right hand of your keyboard. For Mac users, it's going to be Command and down arrow. So I'm going to hold down my Control key, and I'm going to hit the down arrow, and what this does is Excel brings you to the bottom of a column right before the first blank. And as you can see, as I zoom up, here is my first blank. It's on this particular row. So there's two things I need to do, right? There we go. I want to fill in the average value here, and I want to record this value here. Okay, so here my average value is 30.8, and then my ID value is this value right here. Okay, so I'm just gonna, because I have bad memory, so we'll say ID 92, and that was in the sold field. And if you take a look, this value right here has changed. It went up one. It used to be 29.98, now it's 29.99. All right, let's go to the data transaction. So it tells me I've got one more blank value. I'm still in the sold column. Going to hit Control, down arrow, click, click, click. You can see here's my next blank. I'm going to type in 30.8. Right, and so I have my 30.8 here, so I'm going to go across, and I need this particular value 2336. So go back here, so I have now ID 2336, and it's in the sold column. So this particular information that I just wrote here needs to be written right here. And I've given an example in the instructions, but here is what that will look like. If I were to be completing this assignment, you can see that it will have ID 92 in the field sold and then ID 2336 in the field sold. Now remember, my ID 92 and my ID 2336 should be different than yours. Every data set that, or most data sets that were handed out are different, or they were randomly assigned. Also, my average value that I used here will also be different. One thing that should be consistent is that everything should be at 3000. And there should be a formula used to be able to calculate this. You should not be entering numbers into that. So I hope that helps you out, and good luck with your project, and until next time.